Hey there, welcome to my channel. I am so excited to be able to come to you today. My name is Regina Butler and I am with Expert Office. And if you're new to this channel, guess what? So am I, because today is our very first episode and I am truly excited to be able to join you and to come to you just to talk about all things business. This channel is about elevating your business, elevating your team, elevating your processes, elevating even yourself to be the expert business owner that you are. And so we're going to be talking all things business, very casual, a very comfortable environment. And we just want to get real and we want to talk about how we can elevate our business. And I specialize in going behind the scenes, working with you on the things that people don't see, all that behind the scenes stuff that makes you shine in the front. So with that, let's get to work. So today I want to talk about a topic that's really serious to me, and that's the topic of being you, being who you are in your business. And I thought that that was a good way for us to kick off and to kind of start talking about, because before you start worrying about behind the scenes in your business and trying to fix your business, you have to make sure that you're comfortable in your own business. The topic, the things that we're going to talk about, I'm going to break it down into like just three basic sections, things for you to consider. And believe me, in the next few weeks, we'll be talking about each one of these topics in a little bit more detail. But the reason I wanted to talk about this today is that we're forced sometimes, or we feel forced to do what other people are doing, to try to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, and to try to do things that maybe really aren't really us. So I think that when you're trying to do your business, it's so important that you be yourself, be comfortable, and be what comes natural to you. So, the first thing I want to talk about before you can do all that is that if you have a product or a service to sell, you got to believe in it. You have to have a passion for what you're doing, and you have to be so excited that you want to be able to share it with others. And if you don't believe in what you're doing, people that you're trying to sell to, or that you're trying to promote your product to or your service to, they're going to see it. If you can't say it with passion, express why this is the best thing, since sliced bread, they're not gonna want to partake in what you have to offer. So it's extremely important that you believe in the product that you're doing. And I think for a lot of business owners, they look around. They have these lists that go around. You want to make money quick, do this, 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 and then I see people jumping into ways to make money because they know that they can reach an audience and then make a bunch of quick money. But if your heart and soul isn't in it, then it may or may not last. And chances are it won't. That once you get all the people you can, it's going to fizz out. But if you have that passion for what you're trying to do, if you have that belief in what you're trying to sell, or the product, or the whether a product or service, then you are going to have a better chance at reaching people. So that is the number one thing. Believe in what you're doing and don't just do it because everybody else is doing it. I have work with people who start off doing what they think is their passion, but as they grow and as they get more into it, they realize that that's just a fragment of it or a piece of it, and then it grows into something else. That's different. But what I'm talking about is not just grabbing these lists and just saying, okay, well, it says if you want to make money, then you can sell templates and you can do this. And if your heart isn't in it, you just start making up and duplicating what other people, do. So be cautious and be wary when you see these things, and you're going to see them, throughout social media, and just even by word of mouth. So just be careful for that. The second thing that I really want you to understand is that you have to be genuine to who you are. And I'm going to underline the word you and circle it and make it capital. Be genuine to who you are. I got to park here for a minute because when I started my journey on my business, I had started doing some things and I was new to being an entrepreneur anyway. I had been in corporate forever. But then when I actually started trying to do my business, what I noticed is that social media in particular, well, people will come on and they say, oh, I'm a coach and I'm this and I'm that and I specialize in this and I grew my business a gazillion percent because I did this one tactic. And the truth is that in some cases that might work for some people. So I wouldn't take that away from them. But businesses aren't a one size fits all. So what might work for someone else does not necessarily work for you. And I noticed that a lot of the things I saw, and I was doing it myself, just jumping in because they said I must post on Instagram X amount of times, and I must do this and I must do that. And so then you become like robots of doing exactly what other people say you must do. And I noticed that your audience isn't always on Instagram. Your audience isn't always on, these various platforms that they try to push you to do, and they tell you, you must go in and you must do all these things. That is true again for some businesses, but it's not necessarily true for your business. So I do think you have to do some trial and error, and you have to, test the different platforms, sell the way you're comfortable. Hopping on and just talking about your product and hopping off. People need to have a relationship with you, but you can't do exactly what person A is doing or person B is doing. You have to, and you should try to pull from some of the experiences, some of the things that you're talking about, and like do a hybrid thing for yourself. Like what works for you. And so I had to look at really what works for Expert Office. Does it work for me to go on and do a bunch of posts. At one point, they were saying, yeah, you must post every day. And so I was posting every day. And people were liking the things that I posted every day, but it wasn't converting to anything. There was no conversion rate. Money wasn't being made. Yes, I had a nice little following, and I still do. And yes, people are liking the things I do and liking it and purchasing two different things. So it's very important that you take some time. Uh-oh, my camera went out. Now, I got to fix this because we want to be in the best lighting if possible, right? At least I do. They are back. So, I was doing the same thing that the other people were doing, and I was like trying to force myself into, okay, I have to post this many times a day, and I have to do this, I have to talk about that, and I have to, and again, everything doesn't work for your business the way it works for somebody else's business. And that was a lesson that I had to learn because I was really, trying to, be what I thought I was supposed to be. And then we try to do exactly what everybody tells us to do. And that doesn't always work. Okay, so this video was really good. I'm going to start it over. So anyway, so you want to make sure that you're genuine to what you're doing. So one of the other things I also noticed is that I was being told, okay, so you have to market here, you have to market there. Sometimes word of mouth is very good. And then sometimes for what you're trying to sell or what you're trying to do, you have to reach other people. But the important thing is to try to find out what is that thing? What is that method? Now, you're going to try a lot of stuff. You will try a lot of things and you may fail at a lot of things. But failing at the things, that's really good because if you fail at it, then you're growing and you're learning. So for every time you fail at something, you learn, okay, that wasn't the way to go. So what is the way to go? So don't be afraid. And I think a lot of times we're afraid, oh, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And so we don't try or we don't do it the way, that you want to do it. And so it might, plummet on you, but you have learned. And so, believe me, I have learned a lot of things. We had heard people saying, okay, well, you have to do a webinar. You have to do this. So I have done webinars where nobody was on but my family. And that's because I made them get on. So, but that's okay. But I learned that maybe that's not the product or that's not the way. So when you're trying to do the things, when you're trying to sell, when you're trying to bring the things together, you have to be true to who you are. And think about that for a minute. Think about what are you doing like right now in your business that you're really not comfortable with? What are you doing? And not comfortable because it's new to you, but not comfortable because you feel like it's compromising who you are. And I think that a lot of times we start doing things because someone says we have to, but then it's like, this feels icky. This is not my brand. This is not my way. So you want to be true to your brand, be true and genuine to who you are. Okay. And so if it makes sense for my brand, if it makes sense for my values, if it goes with what I'm trying to do, then okay, I can do it. But if it makes you feel the slightest bit like, maybe that's not for you. Okay. And so maybe you shouldn't be pushing that hard in that direction. I've seen people do like misleading the public by saying they have X amount of followers as if that means you're making so much money. Congratulations, you have X amount of followers, but how much money are you making? And so you have to be careful not to fall into that trap of, oh, I have this many followers, so I must be, they have that many followers, they must be making money, because that's not necessarily so. And don't fall into the trap of, if I do things exactly like them, then I'm going to have this. If I do things exactly like that, and people will come on and they'll tell you, if you do this, you'll have this many sales. No business is exactly like another, and so what drives one audience may not drive another. So I want to stress to you to be careful for that and to think about that. But be you, be your authentic self when you're trying to sell, or when you're trying to promote, or when you're trying to do anything about your business. Be your authentic self. Which leads me into the last thing that I want to talk about today for our first session is, when you're doing your networking and when you're going out, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to talk about what it is what you sell or what you offer, and don't be afraid to do it in all audiences, in all wherever you go. And I don't worry about, oh, they may not want to hear about it because, no, if you're proud about it and if it's your way that you're going to generate income, speak about it, talk about it. One thing I also noticed is that when I was doing networking, and I still do some networking, but when I go to networking events, um, I haven't always felt the best about them. It's about finding the one that's a good fit for you. I found myself in crowds of people who really look like they have it all together, but I have news for you. Behind the scenes in their business, they don't have it all together. They really don't. And some people do and some don't. And some of it is just a front. And we all come together in these networking events. Can't wait to talk about, like what it is we do. And then sometimes people feel a little shy. They don't want to say because person X next to them has been in business longer. And so they must be better. Not necessarily. I've been working with various businesses, and I see some businesses that have been around for a good while, but they're still, working on the back office, the back end. Things aren't exactly where they need to be, but because, they've been in business for a long time, people think that, oh, they must have it together. And I fell into that trap. I remember going to networking events where people had been in business longer. I had just started. And so I was all shy about talking about what I do, and maybe somebody might not like it. But the truth is, even if somebody's doing exactly what I'm doing it, they're not doing it the way I'm doing it. And so you have to start thinking, am I selling things? Am I doing things the way they're doing it? Because they can just shop from them. I want to be unique. I want to be, creative. I want to stand out in what I do. And so if I tell you that I specialize in helping elevate your back office, then when I'm networking, I'm going to be explaining, this is how I do it. I do it by doing this, this, and this, and this is why I'm different from other people. And don't be afraid to talk about what you do, and don't be intimidated by people who are trying to say they do things, because truth is, um, it's been my experience that a lot of times they really don't have it all together like they say, and so we want to come together and don't accept that like as a dig against other businesses, but it's the reality. And so when we're on this channel, we're going to be talking about all things like the reality of what is for a lot of businesses. And when I say that, I'm talking about these small businesses, people who are trying to get started, because the truth is that we're all in the same boat. We're all trying to make conversions, trying to make money, trying to do some things on what it is that we're trying to sell or do. So with that, I think we just can't be intimidated. And the more the back office of your business gets going, the more you have things in place. I do think the more confident you are about the front end, and then we're not faking. And I think a lot of times we're out there faking moves, trying to look so glamorous in the front, and we got it all together. But then when we look at the back, and I ask you, what do your numbers look like this week? How much money did you make? How much did what was the return on that investment? Did your are you spending more money than you're making? And what is your audience? Who's looking at the things that at your social media, for example? Are you hot on LinkedIn? Are you hot on YouTube? Or if you can't answer those questions, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And so how are we keeping track? Because if my numbers are low on LinkedIn or YouTube, like what am I doing to make that better? And so when we talk about behind the scenes, with the expert office, we get all back up in there, right? We're all back there, all up in your closet, and you're looking at your stuff, seeing what you have. We're trying to help you elevate to be better. So think about that, and as you're trying to, elevate your business, like what are the things that can get better? What are the things? And so in this channel, these are the things that we'll be looking at. So with that, I am going to thank you. I am so glad that you came, and hopefully you stayed to the end to just to see what we're about, to hear some of the things that we're going to be talking about, whether it's elevating our teams, elevating our businesses, elevating ourselves to be the best CEOs that we can for our business. All those things we're going to be talking about them, and so I look forward to working with you, or actually talking to you, sharing with you, and I do hope that you comment in below if there's some things that you want to talk about, if there's things that I'm not clear about, feel free. You challenge me, I challenge you. So like, share, and remember to follow. Have a great afternoon.